Dharma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Number 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. Number 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Number 6, to give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. Number 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Number 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. Number 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Number 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. There is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna. I once again welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call. So today we will be moving on to our next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Before moving to the next session, may I know who are all on the call?
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Das from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. This is Kamadaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kamadaki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Raleigh.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. All glories to Assemble devotees of Mohini Lakshmi, not different.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Anyone else who would like to introduce?
Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shyama Gauri Devidasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shyama Gauri Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Manali Chokshi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I once again welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call. Hare Krishna, Mataji, we can start the recording. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I once again welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call. So today we will be moving on to our next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, which will be given by His Grace Krishna Dhan Prabhuji. Before moving to the session, I would like to hand over call to Tiffany Mataji to give brief introduction about His Grace Krishna Dhan Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji, over to you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today we have with us His Grace Krishna Dhan Prabhuji. Prabhuji has been a senior brahmachari and full-time preacher at ISKCON Nashik since 2008. He is presently the president of ISKCON Nashik and looks after youth preaching activities there. As the founder and director of Samruddhi School of Leadership, he has been stressing how crucial it is to train and guide teenagers. He has written a book called Get, Set, Go, Student Success Handbook, which is highly acclaimed for its lucidity and for being a practical guide in Krishna consciousness. Prabhuji has also written another book called Launch Your Life to the Next Level. His motivational speaking has struck chords with many industrialists as well as youth in bringing all to the Krishna consciousness platform. His seminars and courses based on Vedic scripture have found a niche among corporations and colleges across Mumbai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, so lovely to have you on the call. Thank you for allowing us to take your association.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming on the call and giving us your valuable time and association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. So today, we will be moving on to the Bhagavatam session, which is the verses, Canto 7, Chapter 1, text 28 and 29. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all of you for this session on Srimad Bhagavatam. First of all, let us offer our obeisances and then we begin. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we are discussing from Canto 7, Chapter 1, take verses 28 and 29. So we will recite them. Kitah peshas kritaruddha Udyayam tamanusmaran Samramba bhaya yogena Vindate tatswarupatam Evam Krishne Bhagavati Maya Manuja Ishvare Vairena Puta Papmanaha Tama Puranu Chintaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. A grassworm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity, and latter becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. Similarly, if the conditioned souls somehow or other think of Krishna, who is Satchidananda Vigraha, they will become free from their sins. Whether thinking of him as their worshipable Lord or an enemy, because of constantly thinking of him, they will regain their spiritual bodies. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4.10, Lord says, Vitaragabhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. There are two ways of constantly thinking of Krishna, as a devotee and as an enemy. A devotee, of course, by his knowledge and tapasya, becomes free from fear and anger and becomes a pure devotee. Similarly, an enemy, although thinking of Krishna inimically, thinks of him constantly and also becomes purified. This is confirmed elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita. 9th chapter 30th verse, Lord Krishna says, Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he engages in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. A devotee undoubtedly worships the Lord with rapt attention. Similarly, if an enemy, suduracharaha, always thinks of Krishna, he also becomes a purified devotee. The example given here concerns the grassworm that becomes bee-like because of constantly thinking of bee that forces it to enter a hole. By always thinking of a bee in fear, the grassworm starts to become a bee. This is a practical example. Lord Krishna appears within this material world for two purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, to protect the devotees and to annihilate the demons. The sadhus and devotees certainly think of the Lord always. But dushkrutis, the demons like Kamsa and Shishupal, also think of Krishna in terms of killing him. By thinking of Krishna, both the demons and the devotees attain liberation from the clutches of material Maya. This verse uses the word Maya Manuje. When Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in his original spiritual potency, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya, he is not forced to accept a form made by material nature. Therefore, the Lord is addressed as Ishvara, the controller of Maya. He is not controlled by Maya. When a demon continuously thinks of Krishna because of enmity toward him, he is certainly freed from the sinful reactions of his life. To think of Krishna in any way in terms of his name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, or anything pertaining to him is beneficial for everyone. Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha. Thinking of Krishna, hearing of the holy name of Krishna, or hearing the pastimes of Krishna will make one pure, and then he will become a devotee. Our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore trying to introduce the system of somehow or other, letting everyone hear the holy name of Krishna and take Krishna Prasad. Thus, one will gradually become a devotee and his life will be successful. Hare Krishna. So, welcome all. And today we are discussing from this wonderful section what is going on. So, 7th canto, first chapter, we have already entered into. This chapter begins with question of King Parikshit to Shukdev Goswami, that it seems that Lord is partial, partial to devotees and not partial to the demons. He takes sides actually, takes sides of his devotees, and he doesn't take side of demons actually. It seems Lord is partial. And then Shukdev Goswami gives some philosophical answer and says, no, Lord is impartial. And then in between there is a samvad. Yudhishthir Narad samvad is quoted. So Yudhishthir Maharaj also had similar question, and then Narad Muni is answering the question. And basically, Narada talks to Yudhishthir about mercy of Krishna even to the demons. Demons like Shishupal, Shishupal was killed by Krishna, but he was liberated. So like that, Narad Muni quotes, and from this verse actually, or yesterday's verse, 27th, and it will go on till 31, 32, the glory of absorption in Krishna or remembering Krishna comes. So this verse basically talks about a meditation by a grassworm. Some of you must have seen that grassworm. It is there in the tree hole and always in the constant fear that the bee will come and will hurt me. So in that fear only the grassworm stays, and by constantly thinking of the bee, it itself becomes a bee. So it's a very practical example. Srila Prabhupada also writes in the purport. This is a very practical example. So what do we think that we become? Where we are absorbed, there our heart is, And that's how we attract that kind of destiny for us. So even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that even those demons, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 48th verse, it said, Vairenayam nrupataya shishupala paundrashalva dayogati vilas vilokanadhyaihi dhyayanta krutadhya shayanasanado tatsamyama puranurakt dhyam punah kim. Anurakta dhyam punah kim. Even Vairena tam nrupaya yaham nrupatayah. There are various kings, they are listed, Shishupal, Poundra, Shalva, Ityadi. All these, they were during sleeping, during eating, during walking, they are always remembering Krishna and they got liberated. So, Anurakta Dhyam Kinampum, those who are attached to Krishna out of love, what to speak of them? They are attaining Krishna. So, even demons who meditate on Krishna out of envy or enmity, those examples will come actually. Those are the future verses, Gopya Kamad Bhayat Kam. So this is 31st verse. Same chapter, 7th kind of first chapter. So that will come in the future, various examples, how various people remembered Krishna out of various ways, some out of envy, some out of fear, some out of love, some out of devotion, and they attain Krishna. So anyway, we can remember Krishna. Even demons who meditate on Krishna, they got liberated. Then what to speak of devotees? So this is what is being talked about is the principle of absorption in Krishna. The more materially absorbed we are, the more degraded we become. The consciousness glides down. And Lord Krishna actually talks about this in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, verses number 62 and 63. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho vijayate क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. We glide down, we decline. So it all began with dhyayato vishayan pumsa, meditating or absorbing our mind in sense objects and sense gratification. So any material absorption, actually, it is going to decline us. It is going to pull us down. But absorption in Krishna, thoughts about Krishna, it is going to elevate us. And not only elevate, but liberate us. King Parikshit in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, almost at the end, actually, King Parikshit and Shukdev Goswami, they meet for the first time at the end of first canto of Bhagavatam. So actually, their discussion begins from the last chapter, which is 19th chapter of first canto. And at the almost at the end of this 19th chapter, when King Parikshit has renounced everything, he is there sitting on the bank of the Ganges, and along with many sages assembled, he asked Shukdev Goswami, my dear Shukdev Goswami, yat shrotavyam atho japyam yat kartavyam nrubihi prabho smartavyam bhajaniyam va bruhi yadva viparyayam. My dear Shukdev Goswami, yat shrotavyam, what one should hear, japyam, what one should chant, yat kartavyam nrubihi prabho, what is the duty of human beings, smartavyam, what one should remember, bhajanimya, what one should do bhajan about, yadva viparyayam, what one should not do, bruhi, please tell me. So what should be remembered? This is the question of King Parikshit. And immediately, second canto, first chapter only, Shukdev Goswami answers this question. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Bhayam. Tasmad, therefore, O Bharata, O descendants of Bharata Vamsha, King Parikshit, Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi, Bhagavan, Lord Krishna. About him, one should Shrotavya, one should hear, Kirtitavya, one should sing, and Smartavya, one should remember, one should get absorbed in him. If you are Ichchatam Abhayam, if you want to become fearless. So King Parikshit inquired what one should chant, remember, and hear. Nrubihi, what everyone, not only the person who is about to die, but everyone, for everyone, he is asking. And then Ichchatam abhayam. If you want to become fearless, Shukdev Goswami gave the formula that Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Ichchatam. So chant about, hear about, and remember about Lord Krishna. So this is the simple formula given. And even this remembrance of Krishna, actually, this is the duty then. Smartavyaha. Smartavya, this Sanskrit is a very amazing language wherein smaran is the routine word actually. So when we say anusmaran, it has different meaning. When smartavya, there's a different connotation behind it. So like we have kruta. Kruta means something done, something to do. Krutavan, kila karmani, like we have in Bhagavatam. So smartavya, tavya is the suffix which we add to the word, then that is an order that has to be done. Smartavya means one must remember. Kirtitavya, like we have, kartavya. Kartavya means something, it is my duty. I should do that. It is the duty of the son, as they say, it is the duty of the parents. So that is called a kartavya. So kartavya word, it means that cannot be neglected, that has to be done. That should be done, that must be done. So that is, therefore this Shrotavya, Kirtitavya, Smartavya, these words are very amazing. So basically they are not just words. We are saying that one may remember, one may chant. No, one must. So that is being highlighted here. So when we remember about Lord, chant about him, hear about him, then we uplift our consciousness actually. And that's what Queen Kunti also prays. In first canto, 8th chapter, which are like Kunti's prayers, and 36th verse, she says, Shrunvanti gayanti granantya bhikšnashah smaranti nandanti tavehitam janaha ta eva pasyantya chirena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. The effect of remembrance of Krishna is talked about in this verse. 1836. Not so Shrunvanti, those who hear, gayanti, those who sing, smaranti, those who remember. Remember what? About the Lord. Nandanti tavehitam janaha. And what is the effect? Ta eva pasyanti achirena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Bhava pravaha uparamam padambujam. They will see, pasyanti. They will see what? They will see you face to face. When? Achirena. Not after a very long time, but immediately once they start doing these activities, and they will stop their cycle of birth and death. So this is how powerful is the remembrance of Lord Krishna, that it can break the cycle of our birth and death, and we will be able to see Krishna face to face. And therefore Lord Krishna also recommends remembering him in Bhagavad Gita. We know the famous verses from 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that anyone who remembers Lord at the end of his or her life, they will attain the abode of the Lord. Antikale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. There is no doubt that anyone who remembers me while quitting his body will attain me. And in general, then Arjuna had this question in his mind. This is 8.5 verse. Then Arjuna had a question, okay, if someone remembers you at the time of death, they will attain you. What about those who will remember something else? Krishna says, 8.6, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitah. Whatever state of being one remembers, they will attain that. You remember deer and you become a deer. And we have proof for that, Bharat Maharaj. You remember something and you become something like that. So this is a general principle, 8.6. And then, therefore Krishna, then 8.7, he says, what about you? You remember. You want to remember about me at the end? Okay, then why not you practice? And then 8.7, he orders, Tasmat, therefore, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mamevaishyatam shayah. You'll come to me without doubt. What one should do? Tasmat, therefore, sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. At all times remember me and do your duty, fight. And Maya Arpati Manobuddhi, with your mind and intelligence absorbed in me, you will come to me. So remembering Krishna, Krishna also asks us to remember him. So we saw Srimad Bhagavatam also, Queen Kundi's prayers, that these things are like Smartavya, Kirtitavya, and before that, what Sukadeva Goswami says, they are orders actually. One should do, one must do. And Krishna is also asking that we need to remember him at all the times. Now, advanced devotees, for them, remembering Krishna is very easy. In regards to Prahlad Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami says, Yatra naisargiki ratihi, his love for Krishna was natural. No, natural. So, for advanced devotees, remembrance of Krishna is natural. Like gopis, gopis when they would go to sell butter and ghee or milk, whatever milk products they would go and sell, like hawkers and vendors, when they go and they shout actually, doodh le lo doodh, dahi le lo dahi, like that they say, take this, buy this from us. Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya murari padar pitachit vrittihi dadhyadikam moha vasad avochat govinda damodara madhaveti. Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya. The gopa kanyas, the gopis are going to sell the milk products. Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya. But the problem is their chitta, their mind is absorbed in Krishna. Murari padar pita chitta vrittihi. Their chitta vritti, their mind, they're absorbed, they are fully absorbed in Krishna. Murari padar pita chitta vritti dadhyadikam. Dadi means dahi. Dadhyadikam moha vashat avochat. They're absorbed in Krishna. They want to purchase these milk products, but they're saying, please take Govinda, please take Damodar from us. That is their level of absorption. So even they go to sell milk products and they say Govinda Damodar Madhavi. So that is their absorption actually. This is natural for them. And what to speak of the supreme most gopi Srimati Radharani. Krishnamai Krishna jar bhitare bahire yaha netra pade taha Krishna spure. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talked about her that Krishnamai. So she is so absorbed in Krishna that she has become Krishnamai. So there is no difference between her and Krishna. Krishnamai Krishna jar bhitare bahire. Inside is Krishna, outside is Krishna. Yaha netra pade taha Krishna spure. She sees something in the outside world and she remembers Krishna. She sees tamal tree, blackish complexion. Oh, she goes and embraces the tamal tree. She sees clouds and say, oh my Krishna. So anything she sees in the world that makes her remember Krishna. So the point is, when these advanced devotees actually, they are naturally absorbed in Krishna. They don't have to do effort for this. But when we talk about us, sadhakas, for us the absorption in Krishna is not natural, and you will agree with me. We have to take efforts for that, right? So I'm going to share 6 tips by which simple practical tips actually, not very high-funded tips, simple practical tips by which we can increase our remembrance of Krishna, we can increase our absorption in Krishna. As I mentioned, these are going to be very practical tips, and let us begin with the first tip. Eating Krishna Prasad. You will say, oh, what is this? What is the connection of remembering Krishna and eating prasad? In Antilila, 6th chapter, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is having discussion with Raghunath Das Goswami, and they were discussing this. Vishaira anna khaile malina hoila man Malina mana hailana he Krishnera smarana. An amazing and powerful link is there actually, what we eat and what we remember. Mahaprabhu is saying, Vishaira Anna. I think there is some noise coming from Vishaira Anna Khaile Malina Haila Man. When we eat food which is made by a Vishayi, Vishayi means a sense gratifier. Vishayera anna khaile malina haila man. What will happen? Our mind becomes contaminated. And malina mana haila nahe Krishnera smarana. And when the mind is contaminated, there is no Krishna smarana. So when we want Krishna smaran to be the part of our life, or that is the goal we want to achieve, then we have to begin with this simple step first. We have to prove Krishna that yes, we want Krishna smaran. We want, that is our cherished goal, and we are ready to do something for that. So what I'm doing is, first thing is, I will not eat food which is prepared by sense gratifier, but I will eat Krishna prasadam. So this is the first tip actually, and very simple tip which comes basically directly from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Radha and Krishna together. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Amya. So they are actually teaching us how we can remember them. So eating Krishna prasadam. Second is, we all do daily activities, right? So during our daily activities also, we can inculcate the habit of chanting and remembering the Lord. Doing regular chores we do, and so basically there are two things. One thing, there are activities which demands our full attention, and there are some activities which don't demand our full attention. Some activities like walking, so it doesn't demand much attention, right? So during walking, or maybe taking bath, bathing, that also won't require much of our attention. So we can always chant, Therefore, there's Vishnu Shodash Nama. There is a prayer which says, Aushade Chintayet Vishnu Bhojane Cha Janardanam. When taking medicine, you remember Vishnu Bhojane Cha Janardanam. When doing Bhojan, you remember Lord Janardan. Like that, Shayane Padmanabham Cha Vivahe Cha Prajapatim. When we do Shayan, at the time of sleeping, remember Padmanabh. At the time of marriage, remember Prajapati. Yuddhe Chakradharam Devam Pravase Chatri Vikramam. If you are going for the battle, remember Chakradhari. If you are going for travel, remember Trivikram. Narayanam Tanu Tyage. While giving up your body, remember Narayan. Duswapne Swara Govindam Sankate Madhusudanam. If you have a bad dream, remember Govinda. Sankate Madhusudanam. If you are in difficulty, remember Madhusudanam. Kanane Narasimham Cha. If you are going through a forest, remember Narasimha. Jalamadde Varaham Cha. If you are in the water body, remember Varaha. Parvate Raghunandanam. If you are climbing the any mountain, remember Raghunandanam. Gamane Vamanam Chaiva. And if you are walking somewhere, remember Vaman. So like that, while walking, talking, eating, getting married, sleeping in, having bad dreams, then also it is said whom to remember. So the point is that it is being asked that while doing these activities, we can remember Krishna, right? It's quite possible. And if you ask me, what is the proof that the scriptures mention about this, doing your activities and remembering Krishna? Again, coming back to gopis, who are at the topmost devotees of Krishna. So regarding gopis, it is said that they are doing their household chores, and that time also they are remembering Krishna. Yado hane vahanane mathanopalepa pranken kanarbarudito ksanamarjanadau gayanti chainamanurakt diyostru kantyo dhanyavrajastriya urukramachittayana. Now I'll just list down the activities which the gopis are performing. Ya dohane, while doing dohan of the cows, milking the cows. Vahanane, thrashing of the rice paddy to take out the husk and then the rice from it. Ya dohane vahanane mathan, manthan. Dahi manthan. to take out butter from the curd. Mathanopalepa. Upalepa means, that lepan. We have a walls. You must have seen in Vrindavan, there are walls, and the cow dung is applied on the walls. So that is called upalepan. Mathanopalepa. Prinking means while swinging on the swings. Arbharudito, while feeding the crying babies. Okshana marjanado, while sweeping the floors and sprinkling water in front of their courtyard. So during doing all these activities, Gayanti Chainam Anurakta Dhyo Shrukanthyo, they're doing these activities, and how they are doing Ashrukanthyo. Their throats are getting choked and their eyes are shedding tears. Anurakta Dhyoshrukanthyo Dhanya Vrajastriya Urukramachittayanaha. Their chitta, their minds are absorbed in Krishna. Fortunate are these gopis. Very soon, Kartik month is going to begin, wherein Mother Yashoda and Damodar, they are constantly glorified. When Shukdev Goswami begins the description of this pastime, the focus is on Mother Yashoda, who is churning and making the butter. Yani yani hagitani tadbala charitani cha dadhi nirmanthane kale smaranti tanya gayata. Yani yani hagitani tadbala charitani cha. Whatever the songs related to Krishna's pastimes are there, yani yani hagitani, all those songs. Gayanti, smaranti tanya gayata. She is remembering and chanting. And when she is doing that, Dadi nirmanthane kale, at the time when she is doing manthan. So the point is, then while doing manthan, she is remembering Krishna, and she could attract Krishna. Krishna came there. So while doing our chores, we can remember Krishna. And there are some activities which, when where our focus is required and we can't chant actually. But actually, those activities we should understand that I am doing that as service to Lord Krishna. Then that is sufficient. Like when Krishna said in 8.7 Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat Sarveshtu Kalashu Mam Anusmar Yudhecha, remember me and fight. So it is not that Arjuna shooting arrow and saying Hare Krishna. Not like that. But he was knowing why he was fighting. Karishche Vachanam Tava. He was fighting on the order of Krishna, becoming his instrument. Nimittamatram bhavatavya sachin. So, whatever activities we do, we know the purpose that we are doing these activities as a service of Krishna, then they are Krishna conscious activities. And there are some activities wherein our attention and absorption is not required. That time we can remember and chant, like Yashoda Mai and the Gopis example we saw. Even if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter number 12, Gundicha Marjan Leela is fully described. So in Gundicha Marjan Leela, all these devotees actually, they were doing kirtan, They're cleaning also. And now if this question is asked, we do something, but our chitta is somewhere, our efficiency will go down. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would clean the floor and the temple, and he would accumulate dust equivalent to 100 people or more than that. So that was his efficiency, because he was fully absorbed into it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing Gundicha Mandir Marjan Leela, actually they are teaching us that if someone wanted a water pot, they say, hey Krishna, give me that. So like that they would Uthi Hari Dhvani, Kaviraj Goswami says, that everyone was chanting Hari 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 Bol. And the third thing, as 6 tips. First is eating only Krishna Prasad. Second is doing our daily activities, we can chant and hear kirtan vagera. Third is associating with devotees. The more we associate with devotees, actually we know that when we meet devotees, they talk about Krishna, right? They will ask you, have you chanted your rounds? What reading you did today? Like that. So they'll make us remember Krishna. And that is the topic of discussion Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10.9, Machitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam Tathentascha mam nityam tushanti cha ramanti cha. That is the satisfaction, that is the delight. Matchitta, the chittas are in me. Madgata pranaha. I am the life and soul. Bodhayantaha parasparam. That they're talking about Krishna to each other. So the point is, the more we associate with devotees who are advanced than us, or like-minded devotees more specifically, then actually it helps increase our remembrance of Krishna. So this is third point. Fourth is regularly reading scriptures, because scriptures remind us about our identity. Scriptures, they have this entire Vedic gamut. If you see, they're divided into three types of knowledge: Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojan. Krishna, Sambandha, Bhakti, Abhidheya, Prema, Prayojana, Vede, Tina Vastu Kai. In the Vedas, there are three things only talked about. Who is Krishna? Who are we? What is this material world? That's why Sambandha Gyan. And then how to revive that lost relationship, performance of Bhakti practices, that is Abhidheya. And the ultimate goal of life, love of Krishna, is the Prayojan. So when we read scriptures, actually we are constantly reminded. And when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, actually Srila Prabhupada always say, you will always find Prabhupada writing, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are his eternal servants. Our duty is to serve. We are not the body, we are soul. So basically, Prabhupada emphasizes this Sambandha Gyan much. So when we read, then actually our Sambandha of Krishna will be revived. And Srila Prabhupada actually says that reading scriptures is actually being with Krishna, It not only it will remind you of Krishna, but you are with Krishna. In purport to third canto, 5th chapter, 13th verse, Prabhupada writes in the purport. I'll read Prabhupada's purport as it is. Bhagavad Gita being spoken by the Lord is as good as the Lord himself. When a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in his personal presence. So because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord, it is as good as Lord himself. So Prabhupada so confidently writes, that Bhagavad Gita is instruction madhyasvayam padmanabhasya mukha padmadvinishritaha. Ganga, which emanates from the lotus feet of the Lord, it purifies the three worlds. What to speak of the knowledge which comes from the lotus mouth of the Lord. So we are associating with Krishna face to face in his personal presence when we are reading Gita. And when we are reading Bhagavatam, we are also again, Bhagavatam is nothing but the form of Krishna. We call Grantha Avatar. Krishne Swadhamopagate Dharmajnanadibhisaha Kalau Nashtadusha Mesha Puran Arka Dhunoditaha. When Krishna went to his spiritual abode, actually the religious principles took shelter of Bhagavatam. So Gita equal to Krishna, Bhagavatam equal to Krishna. So when we read scriptures, actually we are getting drenched in the personal association of the Lord. So the more we do, the more we are absorbed. So the more we remember Krishna, we are with Krishna. So this is the fourth thing. Fifth is engaging all our senses in the service of Krishna, doing some practical services. Like King Amrish. See, we want to be absorbed, we want to increase our absorption. That is our topic of discussion. We have to increase our remembrance of Krishna. So it rarely happens that you are sitting at some place meditating and I'll now remember about Krishna Leela. Advanced devotees can do that, but a neophyte sadhaka can't, because of the mind, which is chanchalam himanaha Krishna pramathi balavadrinam. So which is horrible, because the mind is uncontrolled and we can't focus much. Then what to do? Mind is the king of all the senses, and all the senses actually, when we engage them in serving, practical serving, then the mind also is there trying to absorb. And also mind, we have to engage mind also. And this is the practical example of this is King Amrish. He was a king, a ruler, having so many responsibilities, still he engaged all his senses in the service of Lord Krishna. 9th canto, 4th chapter, 18, 19, and 20. These 3 shlokas talk about how he engaged all his senses in the service of Krishna. Savai manah Krishna padar vindayo vachansi vaikunta gunan varnane karau harer mandiram disu shrutim chakarat chuta satkarodaye. And this series goes on and on. Basically, the mind is engaged in the lotus feet of the Lord. Vachansi vaikunta gunan varnane. The ability to speak is engaged in glorifying Krishna. Padav harer chitra padana sarpane shiro rishikesha pada divandane. Lotus feet to go to the holy place, places of the Lord, and the hand to do the cleaning of the temple like Gundicha Mahajan. Even I practically found this, that we have Maha cleaning in the temple. Everything in ISKCON is Maha, We have Prasad, we have Maha Prasad, Arati, we have Maha Arati. So like cleaning, we have Maha cleaning. So Maha cleaning, so we have these weekly services. And I like to always take part in this. This is my most favorite service actually. Because otherwise, what kind of service we give to our hands, So doing Mandir Marjan, and I have personally felt that our absorption is more. And how King Parikshit King Ambarish engaged all his senses, so we can follow each and every, list down all his senses, how he engaged, and try to practically emulate. And we will learn actually how King Ambarish was such an advanced devotee. And if we do that as a sadhana, we also can advance in the path of bhakti. So engaging our senses, and not only engaging our senses, and the 6th and the last point is, whatever we are doing, trying to put our heart into it, being absorbed. Because absorption actually in this activity will make us advanced and will give realization. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing Gundicha Marjan, how much absorbed he was, Kaviraj Goswami explains, Dhuli Dusaratanu Dekhite Shobhan, Kaha Kaha Ashrujale Kore Sammarjan. Dhuli Dusaratanu Dekhite Shobhan. His body is beautified by the dust which he is cleansing. Kaha Kaha Ashrujale Kore Sammarjan. He is cleaning the temple with the help of water also, which was brought from this Indradyumna Sarovar, but there was also another source of water, and the tears of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So much of absorption, through tears also is cleaning. Ashru Jale Kore Sammarjana. That is called as absorption. So, if one is thinking always about oneself, then one can't render selfless service to the Lord. So, our service has to be selfless, first of all. And that is the key point for absorption. And there are various other examples which we can discuss and talk about, that while reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Gadadhar Pandit was so absorbed discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. We know in Jagannath Puri there is a temple called Tota Gopinath Temple, where Gadadhar Pandit would reside. He had taken Kshetra Sannyas, not to leave that place. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit would come together, they would discuss, and it is actually Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat writes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would listen from Gadadhar Pandit the pastime of Dhruva and Prahlad hundreds of times. So hundreds of times they would discuss that pastime. Actually, it is mentioned that when Gadadhar Pandit would read, and he would shed tears, and through the tears, the ink would go blur, and then everything is almost erased. And they had blank pages, and they are reading and reading and reading. So that is the level of absorption they had while reading and discussing Krishna Katha from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing with rapt attention and absorption, actually, we have the example of King Kulasekhara. The kind of absorption he had, you all know that story, I'll not make it to make the big story short, he would get so much absorbed in hearing that when the narrator is describing the pastime of kidnapping of Mother Sita by Ravana, he is so absorbed. Oh, how can Ravana do that? Army, come with me. I'll go and protect Mother Sita. That was his level of absorption, and to the point he went and entered into the ocean, along with his horses and the entire army, and no one could check him. And it's mentioned that Lord Ram himself actually appeared from the ocean and said, now the Ramayana is over. Actually, here is Sita, take darshan. So the point is, the more we are absorbed in hearing, we need to learn this from people. So Gadadhar Pandit teaches us how we need to be absorbed in discussing and reading pages of Bhagavatam. Kulshekar Raja, he teaches us how to be absorbed in hearing. And as we are discussing of putting our heart into it, it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna was washing the lotus feet of Sudama Vipra, Sudama Brahmana, when Sudama came to meet Krishna in Dwarka, that time when Sudama entered, actually Krishna went there, embraced him, and Krishna actually, when washing the lotus feet of Sudama, he was crying. So he was not doing that as a duty, washing the lotus feet of a Brahmana, but he meant it. He was shedding tears of affection. We day in and day out offer food to the Lord, right? Oh Lord, please take this. Idam naivedyam Krishnaya namaha. Like that we say. When we say that we offer some fruits and we offer some bhoga to the Lord, actually we have the pastime of Raghunandan, Raghunandan Thakur, simple boy. He would make offering to Krishna. Krishna wouldn't eat. He would cry, shed tears. Oh Krishna, you please eat. Krishna ate actually. Krishna actually manifested his personal form, ate laddu. So that is absorption while offering to the Lord. And we also have Vidurani, how absorbed she is while offering. When Krishna went as a peace messenger in Hastinapur, he didn't go to eat at the palace of Duryodhan. But Krishna said, someone can eat food only because of two reasons. When someone has hunger, and second is when someone feeds with love. Neither I am hungry, nor you are feeding me with love. So better I'll go to Vidura's place. So Vidurani we had, Vidurani. So much absorbed she is in serving that, we know that banana and banana leaf, banana peels. So she was throwing the banana away, out, and feeding Krishna the peels. So that story. So this also teaches us how much she is absorbed in serving Krishna. Even in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is the example of a chariot driver of Krishna, Daruka. He is so absorbed in serving Krishna that sometimes when he is fanning Krishna, there are tears of ecstasy in his eyes and he curses his ecstasy. We sometimes pray to Krishna when there will be tears. Nayanam galadashru dharaya vadanam gadgadadya gira pulakair nishitam vapu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati. When it will happen in future. For Daruka, that was the present. That was happening. And he's cursing the ecstasy. These tears are blocking my service. So that is how the absorption in service is there. And Srirangam Brahmana, one last example actually for absorption actually. Absorption in service we are discussing. So the last example is of that South Indian Brahmana in Srirangam specifically. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets, everyone is teasing him, laughing at him. He don't know reading and he's trying to teach him. Guru Agya Mani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he asked, he was crying actually, shedding tears, and he was reading that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "What makes you read? What section of Gita?" I said, "My Krishna, Shamsundar Krishna, Supreme Personality, he becomes a chariot driver for the sake of his devotee Arjuna. This is Bhakta Vatsalta. This is the Param Sima, Charam Sima of this Bhakta Vatsalta. How Krishna is ready to sell himself for the devotion of his devotee. And that makes me cry." So the kind of absorption he had in reading Gita, meditating on these are Krishna's words, My Guru has ordered me to read, therefore I am reading, though I am unable to read. So this also, actually, we are so fortunate. We are able to read, we are able to hear, and we have these books given by Acharyas, we have commentaries, but we lack that absorption like these people. So in summary, what we discussed is when we remember Krishna, and there are examples of devotees who remembered Krishna out of envy, Shishupal, Vairenayam Nurupatayah, Shishupala Poundra, 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, we discussed this, that those kings who out of enmity remember Krishna, they also got elevated. So then when one remembers Krishna out of love, what to speak of them? Anurakta Dhyam Punah Kim. And we also discussed that material absorption is going to degrade us, 2.6263 Bhagavad Gita, but the spiritual absorption is going to elevate us. And material absorption makes us glide down. We had the example of Bharat Maharaj, and the spiritual absorption elevates. And therefore, when King Parikshit asked, what is the duty of a person, general, what one should do, hear, chant, remember? And then Sukadeva Goswami replies that there is a duty of everyone. Not one may do, one must do this. And then we saw the prayers of King Kunti also, that what is the effect of this smaran is that the repetition of birth and death cycle will be closed, and one attains the lotus feet of the Lord. And we also discussed that Krishna also talks about it in Bhagavad Gita 8.7, that he also orders sarveshu kaleshu mamanasmara yudhyacha, that remember me while doing your activities. And we discussed that for advanced devotees, the remembrance of Krishna is natural. We saw the example of gopis, we saw example of Srimati Radharani, but the devotion is, remembrance of Krishna is not natural for a sadhaka. And how do we increase our remembrance and absorption in Krishna? We saw these 6 tips. The first we discussed is eating only Krishna Prasad, and we saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's and Raghunath Das Goswami's discussion in that. Vishayar anna khaile malina haila man malina man haila nahe Krishnera smarana. So remembrance of Krishna is linked with what we eat. Second, we discussed that during our daily chores and activities, household activities, we can remember Krishna just like gopis. They would do all those household chores and they would remember Mother Yashoda's example. We saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while doing Gundi Chaman Marjan. We saw. Third tip we discussed was associating with devotees. They make us remember Krishna. Fourth, we discussed reading scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita specifically. They bring us in contact with Krishna personal presence. Fifth is engaging on all our senses in the service of Krishna, and we discussed King Amrish. Make a list. I give you the reference also, 9th canto 4th chapter 18, 19 and 20 this shlokas. Then 18 to 20 these shlokas. Then lastly 6th tip we discussed, try to be absorbed, and various examples. We saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example, Gadadhar Pandit reading Bhagavatam, King Kulshekar hearing Krishna Katha, Lord Krishna washing the feet of a Brahmana, Raghunandan Thakur and Vidurani offering food to Krishna, Daruka serving Krishna, and Srirangam Brahmana again reading the Bhagavad Gita. So at last, I want to conclude with a poem, and maybe I can share that poem with all of you for you to see. And just before the class, I had something in my mind, and I wanted to conclude with this prayer. So here is the prayer. I hope you are able to see. Material attachment, a burden to bear, it pulls us down in the world's snare. But attachment to Krishna, a path to the skies, it lifts our souls where eternal love lies. Get absorbed in Krishna, the Lord so divine, in devotion and love. Let your heart entwine. For in his embrace, your soul finds its home, a journey of the spirit where you are never alone. So get absorbed in Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So nice, so nicely explained, Prabhuji. Very nice class. So each and every point you gave with examples so that we can remember very deeply about it. We can meditate on that also. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Devotees, any questions or realizations, please go ahead. Shivakumar Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I just wanted to first express my gratitude, Prabhu. In your last session with Bhakti Sanga Jaba, you shared an instruction of when something wrong happens in our presence, we have to act if we are authority according to our capacity. And I have had some lapses on that part, Prabhu, and I was kind of meditating on your instruction. And when I started implementing it, I see that it's very helpful for my sadhana, Prabhu. I just wanted to express my gratitude. So that's one thing, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for kindly sharing and implementing also.
Your mercy, Prabhu. Your mercy. Prabhu, one question from today's session, Prabhu. The absorption, the meditation on Krishna, from my personal experience, though we theoretically understand the pain and pleasure both bewilders, it is very difficult when we are in uncertainty, some pressing situation, or if our sadhana is very conducive, like Taranga Rangani, the mood swing is going out of control, that the absorption is not as quality as when things are normal. The swing is more, both under pain and pleasure. Though theoretically we understand it's just Maya's play, as I said, like in terms of uncertainty, the mind is thinking how I can save myself without Krishna's help, or without I fail to see Krishna's hand in the adverse situation. Same time, when there is pleasure, it gets carried away as this Taranga Rangani, the benefits of bhakti or whatever it is. So the swing is too much, Prabhu, when both pain and pleasure. So I just wanted to hear your opinions of how we can put theory into practice.
Yeah, the swing is too much, but the more we implement and the more we practice, actually what is going to happen is the amplitude and the frequency of the swing is going to reduce. Now it is so high, this is the average, so up and down. So now what amplitude and frequency means, it will not go too high, it will go up and it will go down, but the height, this will be less. And also the frequency means what? Now it is repeating, but then it is like after some time it will repeat. Like so it will reduce slowly and steadily. The more steady, so therefore actually bhakti, it is said that it begins at the stage of nishtha, nishtita bhakti and anishtita bhakti. Before that is anishtita bhakti. Anishtita means all that what you are saying, tarangaranga and all that. So the anishtita bhakti means we are not steady. So the point is, how do we become steady then? So we need to be more consistent in what we do. So we can be consistent and regulated in our all habits, and try to inculcate at every place, even in terms of eating, I'm regulated. I eat this only, I eat at that particular time only. So like that, I sleep this much only. So you regulate, I sit here only, I chant Remembrance every day at this time only. So these regulations, and once it becomes steady. So actually, recently in our group discussions, we are talking about Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani book, very wonderful book written by Suran Sang Maharaj, wherein he was mentioning about the case study of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva's like we have 4 types of people go to Krishna. Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha supurtinorge artha jidnyasu artharthi jnani cha vartachava. So the Dhruva's example is quoted for what, artharthi. He was aspiring something. So Artharthi is aspiring something, a kingdom greater than his great grandfather also. So this is Dhruva's journey, Artharthi. But Dhruva, we also know he's a pure devotee of the Lord. So if you see his journey, so he has intervention of Narad Muni in his life. So we need to have a spiritual master or a guide in our life. Then he followed the course and instructions given by Narad Muni consistently over a period of time. So consistency is the key. When we repeatedly follow what we do, constant repetition of that, doing abhyas of that. And then in the end, actually, we know that Dhruva Maharaj was able to see Krishna face to face. So that is prayojan basically. So we will also be able to see Krishna face to face if we follow the instructions regularly and achirena, very soon. But it is also mentioned at one place in Bhagavatam that, chirat, that here for a long time. So when we do this practice long time, then slowly the steadiness will increase. As the steadiness will increase, the absorption and that will also increase. And this frequency and amplitude of going down and down, this type will subside slowly and slowly.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Please give us your continued association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shukakaya Krishna Prabhu. Prabhuji, unmute yourself, Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, thanks for allowing me to ask the question. Krishna Dhan Prabhu, as usual, your class is so nice, very point by point, you give so many things, so nice. Just I have got one question, that chanting is going like a routine. It's happening in the morning as a duty. But when we come to hearing Bhagavatam, I hear at least one lecture of Adhanath Maharaj I like so much, and I get so many takeaways from the lecture. And every day Bhakti Sanga I'm attending morning, evening. So I get absorbed. I feel blissfulness, and I give some 2 or 3 Zoom classes every day. So I feel very happy. But the taste in chanting is not as good as Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. I find the nectar is so much. I'm able to remember the Bhagavata Katha only, but I'm not able to remember the chanting. I don't know how to improve the chanting, the taste, ruchi. Hare Namayava Kevalam is not coming. That is not coming automatically. There's something.
Say, there are 2 domains. Our domain and another one is Krishna's domain. So we need to focus on what is in our hand. Am I taking efforts to improve my chanting? This is all we can say. Forget taste, because taste is in Krishna's domain. Krishna wants to give, Krishna will give. Krishna wants to reserve, Krishna will reserve. What is in my domain?
Listening.
Okay. Am I chanting in Brahma Muhurta, what Srila Prabhupada asks? Okay. Am I chanting in an undistracted way? Am I keeping my mobile away from me when I'm chanting? Like that. Practical tips I'm sharing. So, if we want to improve, actually, then there are like so many good books by various devotees in ISKCON. Bhurijan Prabhu has written a book, Japa. Even Sachidanand Swami has written a very good book, Living Name. So I have found these books practically helpful, that the meditations, kind of meditations they have given, and you read the night before, and the next day morning you implement the technique which they have mentioned. So actually it helps us in the japa. And slowly we go up, and it is going to happen. So taste is in Krishna's domain. When he wants to award that taste, that time we will get it. But as of now, we need to prepare ourselves for that. And how do we do that? As I mentioned, read these books. Sometimes in a year we need to find out time. Like we read, let us say, 10 books in a year. So at least one book is related to japa. I know some devotees, they say, no, don't send me for yatra, but send me for japa retreat. Once in a year I'll go for the 1 week, 1 week time for improving japa. So every year I also practically, this has helped me. Bhakti Brad Bhagat Swami's one session I attended, 1.5 days. Even I attended one session by Devaki Mataji, she conducts workshop. So once in a year, at least 2 days, we should spend some time with these devotees who are retreat, japa retreat type of things. All over the world.
Mahatma Prabhu's one.
Mahatma Prabhu is conducting online. He attend his sessions, and he has written japa affirmation books also, 20 affirmations. I tried this technique for 20 days, one affirmation every day before sitting for chanting. It helps actually, it helps a lot. So we need to constantly take efforts actually for this.
Were you able to chant better after the retreat? You found some difference in that?
At least some time, for some time we are able to chant better rounds. And then again, it is nature, it is going to decline. But actually, as I mentioned, constant association with devotees and reading of the scriptures, it helps us maintain that level. And we need to constantly take effort. Actually, it is in our hand. So that is our domain. Taste is Krishna's domain. So leave it up to Krishna. But what we can do from our end, that we need to do best.
Prabhu, one more thing about reading. To read Prabhupada's book every day, 1.5 hours is not happening. First of all, when I read, neend aata hai, I feel sleepy. But when I'm hearing, I can hear for 4 hours, 5 hours. But is it okay that I can compensate by hearing then reading? Same Prabhupada lecture, I listen. Not
actually both are in one way same. Reading and hearing. Reading also comes in hearing only. But actually, reading has a different flavor. As they say, lemon rice or tamarind rice. The rice only is going to fill your belly, but the flavor is different. So similarly, there is a different flavor in reading. You are directly in contact with Krishna through his spoken sound vibration. Prabhupada written his purpose. So maybe like we heard for a hour, and then when we read for hour, we get our own connection actually with Srila Prabhupada is through his books, right? So as it is, we are going to read. So they can't be compensated. But yes, what we are saying is also good and true, that one aspect of bhakti I can do a lot. One devotee was telling me, you don't ask me to give a class, but you ask me to take a follow-up of someone. I can talk for 3 hours with a small group of 2-3 persons and discuss and talk. But don't ask me to sit on Vyasasana and give lecture. That is well and good, perfectly fine. So you find your taste in hearing. Okay, you read for maximum number of hours in a day hearing, but at least spend some time for reading also. Then that is not compensated for that, but at least some time. Let us say half an hour reading you do.
वो थोड़ा priority भी नहीं है प्रभु उसमें उतना. I don't. Oh, when I take the book, I will hear. I feel like I hear one lecture Radhanath Maharaj and like that. Oh,
yeah,
I really get.
I mentioned the same thing. You hear for long hours, no problem. But as I said, if you are hearing for 4 hours, then read for half an hour also, right? Or let us say 4 or 5 verses you can read. Sometimes my days are very hectic and I don't find time to read. What I do, I get up early in the morning and before Mangalarti I read 2 pages. So I feel satisfaction that I read some. So reading has to be. We cannot compensate for reading, and sometime, if not much, sometime.
Thank you, Babu. बहुत अच्छा बढ़िया बोला आपने. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
you.
You're really Krishna Dhan only. Krishna Dhan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sukkar Krishna Prabhu. We really become sukhi in your association.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
So we can stop, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice explanation, and very much thank you, Shubhakar Krishna Prabhuji, for every time asking this question, because it helps to realize at what level myself I am there. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Krishna Dhan Prabhuji, your class was really amazing, and in the chat, if you see, everyone is glorifying your classes, and we beg your association again in future also. Frequently, actually, we need your association, because the way you took the class was really very amazing. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Devotees, Shamagavi Mataji, you have anything to say?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for coming on the call. Yeah, you are so busy. You are a temple president, but still you came and your class.
I beg forgiveness. I am not able to come to your standard, but sometimes I am available, and I certainly make it a point that give a class for take inspiration from you all people.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Mancha kalpatarubhyacha
Bhaktanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So much, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Vrindavan Dham, Govardhan Gai Ki Jai Ho.
Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much, Bhakti Sanga devotees. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining the